right, let's double check and make sure it's recording. We're ready to go. All right, let's try some dilutions questions. When we do dilutions, you're going to recall from what I told you in class, every time you are going to use the dilutions formula, you're going to be looking at the question and you're going to be looking for the word dilution, titration, or neutralization. Okay, so if we look at this question right here, it says if I add 25 milliliters of water to 125 milliliters of a 0.15 molar sodium hydroxide solution, what will the molarity of the diluted solution be? That's the key word right there in that question. Diluted means I'm going to use the dilutions formula. So let's write it down. M1 V1 equals M2 V2. Every single time I see any of these words, dilution, titration, neutralization, first thing I do is I write that formula down. Now, you can draw a picture if you want. You got 25 milliliters of water added to 125 milliliters of a 0.15 molar solution. So this is just 25 milliliters of water. And then I have 125 milliliters, and it's got 0.15 milliliters in here. So my initial molarity and my initial volume, VI and MI, initial molarity is 0.15 molar. Sorry, this is a molar. And the initial volume was 125 milliliters. I'm going to now take this 25 milliliters of water and I'm going to put it into this cup. I'm not changing the moles. What I am changing is the volume. So my second volume is going to be the 125 milliliters plus 25 milliliters more. So we're going to have the final volume be 150 milliliters, and they want to know what the new molarity of the solution is going to be. So come over here. It's got 0.15 molar times 125 milliliters equals X, which is my new molarity, times 150 milliliters. Break out a calculator. We're going to simplify this. We're going to get 0.15 times 125. That's going to give you 18.75 equals 150x. We're going to divide 150 by both sides, and then we're going to get x equals 0.125 molar. So I didn't leave myself enough room. 0.125 molar is my new molarity. So that's how you do the first one. Go ahead and give it a try. All right, the second one, if I add water to 100 milliliters of a 0.15 molar sodium hydroxide. So again, we can draw a picture. We can say we have a 0.15 molar sodium hydroxide, and it's 100 milliliters, until the final volume is 150 milliliters. So we added 50 milliliters. We added water, started out with 100 milliliters, you ended up with 150. What's the new molarity? And here's the key word again, diluted. So I know I'm looking for molarity, but because I use the word diluted, neutralized, or titrated, the formula is going to be M1 V1 equals M2 V2. Okay, we have all our numbers. This is the ones and this is the twos. I'm going to do 0.15 molar times 100 milliliters equals X, which is my molarity 2, times my volume 2, which is 150. So this is going to be 0.15 times 100, which is 15, equals 150x. X is going to equal 0.1 molar. All right, try another one. Number 3. How much 0.05 molar hydrochloric acid solution can be made by diluting, here's the word, dilution. As soon as I see that word, I'm going to write this formula down. 250 milliliters of 10 molar. Here I have 250 milliliters of 10 molar solution, and I'm going to make it into a 0.05 molar solution. What's my new volume? How much can I make? What's the volume that I can make? So we'll make these my I's and these my F's, or these my 1's and these my 2's, because they use 1's and 2's on the regions. All right, so my molarity is going to be 10. My volume is going to be 250. My second molarity is 0.05, and my new volume is what I'm looking for. So I have to do 10 times 250. It's going to be 2,500 equals 0.05x. X equals, divide both sides by 0.05, 50,000 milliliters. And if I wanted that answer in liters, it would be 50 liters. I just ran out of room over here, so I wrote it over here. If I wanted in liters. They didn't ask me for a specific unit, so whatever unit it is, make sure you write it down. Okay, give another one a go. See how you can do. Number 4, I have 345 milliliters. 345 milliliters. Draw the picture of a 1.5 molar solution, sodium chloride. If I boil the water, so water's coming out, until the volume is now 250 milliliters, right? So you started with 345 and you ended up with 250. How much of the water boiled away? 95 milliliters boiled away. I started with 345. I ended up with 250. So this one is going to be more concentrated. So we're not diluting now. We're making it more concentrated. If I boil the water until the volume of the solution is 250, what will the molarity be? So this one's a little bit trickier because we don't have the word diluted in our question. But if you read carefully and you draw the picture, you can see that this beaker is losing water and becoming 250. Did I take any of the moles out? No. So now we're going to figure out what the new molarity is of this solution. So M1V1, M2V2. My initial molarity is 1.5. My volume is 345 milliliters, so 345 milliliters. And because I'm leaving it in milliliters, this volume needs to be in milliliters, which it is, so that's good, 250 milliliters. And my molarity is what I'm looking for. Is that molarity going to be bigger or smaller than this molarity? Okay, now that we got that answer, let's do 1.5 times 345, which is going to give us 517.5 equals 250x. Let's divide both sides by 250. X is going to equal 2.07. And what are the units? Molar. So now we can see that our prediction that the molarity would be higher because we became more concentrated. Instead of 1.5, we're at 2.07. Okay, try a question like this. Number 5, how much water would I need to add to 500 milliliters of a 2.4 molar potassium chloride solution to make 1 molar solution? So I'm adding water to a beaker. In this beaker, I have 500 milliliters, and it's at 2.4 molar. If I add water to it, it's going to become diluted. If I'm diluting it, my molarity is going to go down. Good. So now, when we add this, how much am I going to have to add to this in order to get it to go to a 1.0 molar solution? All right, molarity, volume, second molarity, second volume. I started with a molarity of 2.4. My volume was 500 milliliters. My new molarity, I want it to be 1. My volume is going to be X. So we're going to take 2.4, I'm going to multiply it by 500. We'll get 1,200 equals 1X. That's in milliliters. That's the new volume, 1,200 milliliters. I started with, oh, is this our final answer? Nope. Why not? Because I started with 500 and they're asking how much water I would need to add. I started with 500. I needed to add, that's right, 700 milliliters of water to the beaker. And when I added 700 milliliters of water to the beaker, you're going to end up with 1,200 milliliters total. All right, try a couple more problems.